Anna May Dietrich, born on September 8, 1890, was a promising young woman living in a small town in Philadelphia County, Pennsylvania. Known for her beauty and charm, she had dreams of a brighter future. However, her life took a dark turn when William Rawson, a blacksmith living near the Rose Tree Hunt Club close to Media in Delaware County, was directed to a cow pasture near McClure's Woods by resident Sadie Worrell on Thursday, January 21st. Mrs. Worrell became concerned after spotting blood-soaked newspaper scraps scattered along Palmer's Mill Road. Her worry escalated to fear when she followed the paper trail to a white bundle surrounded by cows in the pasture, about 20 feet from the road, on the property of affluent lawyer Samuel J. Henderson. Upon entering the pasture to investigate, Rawson found that the bundle contained a pair of human legs dressed in silk stockings. Nearby, he also discovered the headless torso of a woman beneath a pile of bloody newspapers. He promptly alerted the police. At the scene, detectives aimed to identify the victim using her personal effects. She was wearing a blue serge dress, and a watch on her wrist bore the engraved initials HBZ to TT. Later that afternoon, the victim's brother-in-law, Alexander Shull of Norwood, confirmed her identity at the county morgue, recognizing the torso as that of his wife's sister, 35-year-old millinery shop worker Anna May Dietrich, who lived with them on Leon Avenue. Shull noted that his wife had made the blue dress, but he did not recognize the watch. He returned to the morgue later with his wife, who identified the brown shoes the victim had worn. The autopsy conducted that night did not reveal the cause of death, though the precision of the dismemberment suggested that the killer likely had medical training. The identification was further verified by the victim's brother, Albert Dietrich, who viewed the remains at W.C. Rigby and Son Funeral Parlor. Mrs. Shull reported that she last saw her sister during a shopping trip in Philadelphia on Tuesday, January 19th. That evening, Anna mentioned she was going to the theater and dinner with a man from the West. She had also bought a new dress for another date on Saturday night with Nathaniel Warren, a roofing contractor from Germantown, whose office was located above the millinery shop where Anna worked. Friends noted that Anna had been taking dance lessons, signing up under the name Anna Warren. Her next class was scheduled for Tuesday evening, but she called the dance academy that afternoon to cancel. On January 23rd, Anna May Dietrich's head was discovered stuffed in the trestles of a railroad bridge over Naylor's Run by Upper Darby Police and a group of Boy Scouts, approximately 7 miles from the Rose Tree Hunt Club. Her face bore an expression of horror, with dilated nostrils and pupils and clenched teeth. Notably, the head had been severed above the neck, and the neck was not found with the torso at McClure's Woods. That same day, police managed to locate Nathaniel Warren, who had been in Wilmington on the day Anna disappeared. However, he refused to answer any questions, appearing with his attorney and reading a prepared statement. "I have no comment to make on the death of Miss Dietrich," he stated. "I have conferred with my attorney and have nothing to say. All I know about Miss Dietrich is that I took her to dances several times. I did not see her on Tuesday or Wednesday. That is all I have to say now." The victim's boss, Catherine Gerling, owner of a millinery shop at 5817 Germantown Avenue, could not provide any information about the mysterious death of the woman who had worked for her for 6 years. Gerling had helped the Shulls search for Anna after she went missing and explained why Anna used the last name Warren at the dance academy on 19th and Market Streets. She said Anna had missed a class she signed up for under her real name a few months earlier and chose the name Warren to avoid cancellation fees. As far as she knew, Anna didn't go out on dates very often. "She used to go out when she was younger, but she hasn't bothered much with men in recent years," said a family friend, Mrs. McCann. This made Nathaniel Warren's claims seem questionable. Further doubts were raised by Mr. White, who ran the dance academy. He stated that Anna had attended ballroom dancing classes for 4 months under the name Anna Warren, but always came alone. She never attended any of our public dances and didn't seem like the type who would, Mr. White said. She appeared very cultured and refined. However, detectives believed Anna Mae Dietrich might have had many romantic interests. District Attorney William Taylor found that Anna had been very fond of a man from Ridley Park. The Schules remembered Anna talking excitedly about him, but couldn't recall his name. Anna had confided to her sister that she had gone out with him several times and was in love. This man was identified as Bennett. Detectives believed that Anna's wristwatch, along with its mysterious engraving, could lead them to her killer. Who was HBZ? And what about TT? The watch had stopped at 4:26. The last person known to have seen her alive was Mrs. McCann, who spotted her on Market Street at 6:30 on Tuesday evening. It seemed likely that, unless Anna's watch was broken, she had met her end sometime early Wednesday morning. Near the body, detectives also discovered a small glass vial labeled essence of licorice. They enlisted Dr. Atlee Dean to analyze the contents of Anna's stomach, suspecting she may have been poisoned. Licorice, a plant that contains glycyrrhizin, is possibly unsafe when consumed, has been used in traditional medicine as an abortifacient, raising the possibility that Anna had suffered complications from a botched abortion. Fearing prosecution, the doctor might have mutilated her body to hide his involvement in the illegal procedure. Unfortunately, the initial autopsy revealed that all of Anna's organs had been expertly drained of blood. Inspector Caleb Brinton, head of the detective division, assigned a dozen officers to interview every known acquaintance of Anna Mae Dietrich. He theorized that she may have been strangled, with the killer decapitating her to obscure the manner of her death. One of those questioned was David Marshall, a charming chiropractor from Philadelphia with an office just 2 blocks from Mr. White's dance academy. Marshall stated that he had been treating Anna for some time and had made numerous visits to her home. He claimed the last time he saw her was on January 11th, when she had visited his office for sinusitis. Notably, Dr. Marshall was not considered a suspect, as police believed Anna was most likely strangled by a jealous woman at a wild roadhouse party near Media. Detectives were so confident in this theory that they informed the Philadelphia Inquirer they knew the names of the woman who did the strangling and the 2 men who helped dispose of the body, all of whom had been seen driving a red automobile. According to County Detective Quinn, Anna frequented local cabarets and dance halls and had recently been seen with a married man. This relationship reportedly angered the man's wife, who had warned Anna multiple times to end the affair. On Monday, January 25th, the case took an unexpected turn when David Marshall confessed to mutilating Anna's body after 12 hours of intense questioning. He maintained that he did not murder her, claiming that she had committed suicide in his office by ingesting poison. His confession came after detectives brought him to the morgue and showed him the severed head of Anna Mae Dietrich. According to the 42-year-old married chiropractor, he met Anna on the afternoon of Tuesday, January 19th. She appeared distressed and shared that she had been jilted by a wealthy suitor named George Nichols. Marshall invited Anna to his office at 30 South 17th Street, now the location of Duane Morris Plaza, to lie down while he went home for dinner. Upon his return, he discovered Anna unconscious on the floor, a bottle of white crystals nearby. He attempted to revive her but was unsuccessful. Leaving her on the table, he locked up his office and went home to contemplate his next steps. The following morning, he purchased surgical tools and returned to dismember her body. It was only after he had concealed the bundled body parts in the woods that he realized he had forgotten the head in his office. On Wednesday night, as he was returning home from work, he discarded the head from a railroad trestle, where it was later found on Saturday. He thought that if the body were found in his office, his reputation would be irreparably damaged. He felt he was doing the only thing he could under the circumstances. It appeared that Anna Mae Dietrich wasn't the only one leading a double life. During a second round of interrogation, After being bombarded with relentless questions, he reached his breaking point and shouted, "I'm lying! I'll tell the truth." Marshall had a difficult story to share. He explained that he had met Anna about 8 years ago when she first came to his office for an appointment. Their conversation gradually turned sexual, and Anna was unaware that he was married. When she discovered not only that he had a wife, but also a daughter, it was too late for her. She had already fallen in love with him, and they continued their affair. Despite knowing he had a wife, they met in his office almost every weeknight. He provided financial support to Anna as she struggled to make ends meet. Deeply in love, she soon wanted him to take her out to dinner and the theatre. However, he refused, explaining that he couldn't risk his wife and family finding out about their relationship. This situation often escalated into heated arguments. Anna warned him that if he didn't take her out, she would reveal their affair to his wife, effectively ending their relationship. Desperate and consumed by frustration, he felt cornered. He grabbed her throat and started shaking her with warnings and strangling her, but he realized Anna was unconscious, and he let her fall to the floor. He then began to panic and then wanted to make sure he was dead. He grabbed a knife and slashed her throat. She had to die, Marshall explained without emotion. She was troublesome. David Marshall was charged with the murder of Anna Mae Dietrich and subsequently arrested. The trial, which began on March 8, 1926, attracted sensational public interest. Prosecutor Charles E. Fox stated that while his case heavily relied on 2 confessions made by Marshall, there was also substantial additional evidence against him. One key witness, chauffeur Barry, recounted how Marshall had hired him on the night of January 20th to dispose of some packages from his office. When Barry unwrapped one of the parcels, he was horrified to find a human leg inside. Shocked, Barry watched as Marshall frantically offered him large sums of money to get rid of the package, but Barry refused and later contacted the police. While in custody, Marshall was taken to the morgue by Delaware County District Attorney William Taylor. During his testimony for the prosecution, Taylor recounted how he had gathered everyone around Anna Dietrich's remains. He recalled asking Marshall, "In the presence of God and this girl's body, didn't you do this?" To which Marshall responded with a smile, adjusted his mustache, pulled out a cigar, and said, "Why, certainly not." After this encounter, Marshall was returned to the station where he made a statement. Taylor presented this alleged confession to Fox, who read it to the jury. In it, Marshall claimed, "I cut the body up, but I had nothing to do with her death. She committed suicide. She came into my office and took something, I don't know what it was, and died there." As he listened, Marshall squirmed in his seat and had to be restrained by his attorney, Abraham Wernick, to prevent him from leaving the courtroom. Things took a turn for the worse when, despite heated objections from the defense, Fox was permitted to present a second confession made just hours after the first. In this one, Marshall recounted how Dietrich had come to his office and attempted to blackmail him over their long-term relationship, demanding money for some items she had recently acquired. He stated, "I refused. Then a quarrel started. I tried to scare her. The result was that, I guess, I choked her. I would like to clarify, though, that I didn't intend to choke her to death." It seemed strange to say, especially considering that Marshall's next action was to cut Dietrich's throat. The courtroom listened intently as his account of dissecting the body, an ordeal that lasted 3 hours, was presented. To undermine this second confession, Wernick targeted the new witness, Assistant District Attorney William McClenachan, who had been there when it was dictated. Reluctantly, McClenachan admitted that the defendant appeared exhausted when he signed the confession, having been interrogated for nearly 14 hours straight. The prosecution needed to establish that the victim had been afraid of Marshall. To support this, they called Kenneth Gleason, a fellow commuter who had spoken to Anna Dietrich on the night she died. Gleason testified that she had shown him a photograph of Marshall and mentioned attending a party the next night with another man. When Gleason said, "I hope you have a nice time at the party," Dietrich seemed uneasy, replying, "I don't know. Maybe the man I'm meeting tonight will object to a date with another man." Throughout the trial, Marshall had remained somewhat of a background figure, with many of his statements being read by others, and this continued when he took the stand to testify. Anna's brother-in-law testified that he had called Dr. Marshall to inquire about Anna's whereabouts, only to be told that he hadn't seen her in a week. As details of his romantic involvement with Miss Dietrich came to light, Marshall kept his gaze fixed on the floor. The chiropractor faced additional distress when his wife chose to renounce their marriage upon discovering the affair and refused to attend the hearing. She also declined to visit him in jail, where he was held without bail while the police investigation continued. "I won't spend a dime to get him out," Mrs. Marshall told her friend, Isabella McDowell. "I always suspected he was living a double life, but when I confronted him, he would just laugh and accuse me of being jealous." In May, Marshall was found guilty of second-degree murder and received a sentence of 10 to 20 years at Eastern Penitentiary from Judge Harry McDevitt, the maximum allowed by law. After delivering the sentence, Judge McDevitt expressed, "My only regret is that I cannot impose a harsher penalty." A few weeks after his incarceration, his wife, Jenny, initiated divorce proceedings. David Marshall proved to be a model inmate and was released in April 1936 after serving 10 years. He later relocated to Miami, where he passed away from a heart attack 5 years later at the age of 60.